Hi, I'm Alexa. This is a real life Alexa channel. Today I'm going to talk about the Olympics, mental health, mistakes, and redemption. So, probably the biggest story out of the Tokyo Olympics was Simone Biles withdrawing from certain events due to, excuse me, what is called the twisties. And there was certainly a lot of vitriolic, she should have just sucked it up, how could she let her country down? And then it became apparent that, the so gymnasts, the twisties is probably the most dangerous thing for them to have, especially when they're tumbling. They don't know where the floor is in relation to their body, which means they could end up hitting the floor sooner than they expect. And depending on where you land, if you land on your head or your neck, I mean, catastrophic consequences. And Miss Biles was extremely public in a lot of her struggles. I mean, there's a lot of stuff obviously she didn't say, which is totally fine, but she was much more open about what this was, what she was going through, how she was addressing it. And it's to do with the mental stress that she had been under, not just from normal going to the Olympics stress, but stuff in her life and things that were going on, and how she has, well, first of all, she knew that withdrawing, she might not be going back to the Olympics again. She knew that that might be it. And she still prioritized her health, and the people around her still prioritized her health and supported her in that decision. It's a stark contrast to the 96 Olympics, and this was pretty much spoken about a lot a few years ago, when Carrie Strug was essentially forced to vault on a broken leg. And I believe she has spoken about the life-changing impact of that. Sorry, I think you can see Kane in the corner here, and he was just scratching, but his leg was like here, not on his head. It's like, what are you doing? To see the difference in our attitudes as a society. Hi, yes, I was talking about you. To see our different approach to supporting our athletes through the thick and the thin, the good and the bad, to prioritizing their mental, physical well-being, and in a broader societal sense, to see mental health being given the sort of due it deserves, to be taken seriously, to not be written off as just someone being melodramatic or whatever. I'm personally extremely grateful to the people who have come before, who have spoken out, who have helped to normalize this conversation, because it is so impactful for little girls, little boys everywhere to see role models not just take that time for themselves, but to come back in whatever way they come back later and to find success again. Sometimes that's not necessarily in the sport. Sometimes it's a pivot to a new career, but it's not the end of the world. It's a challenge, and it can take a while to get through, but you can do it, and stuff can, change for the better eventually. It's almost like a pendulum swinging back and forth. So to see Simone Biles just absolutely having the time of her life, looking like she's enjoying herself, celebrating her teammates and her teammates celebrating her, the camaraderie is insane. And then not just the US team, but I mean, again, similar to swimming, all of these sports, these people have been likely performing with the same set of competitors at various Olympics, World Championships, etc. And so they develop friendships across country borders, right? To see that camaraderie in so many ways, in so many sports, that's something that I find extremely heartwarming and inspiring. Let's go ahead and switch to track and field. I think there's another example here of mental health mistakes and then redemption in this Olympics, and that is Sha'Carri Richardson. She obviously, it's known, she tested positive, I want to say, for marijuana before the previous Olympics. She wasn't able to go. There was a lot of vitriol in the initial press reporting, and then she came out and said, but y'all don't realize what's been happening in my personal life. I believe, if I remember correctly, someone she was extremely close to in her family was struggling. They either passed away or they were extremely ill, and she was very worried about them. And then she's also, 19, 20 years old or so at the time. She's in this extremely high pressure situation, which in and of itself is enough to break a lot of people if they don't have proper support around them. And I say break in terms of not being able to perform or making a silly choice. And we all do that. It happens to every single one of us. To see her have sort of put her head down and just get out there and prove it, that she learned the lesson and she grew from it. And now for her to be at the Paris Olympics, it's just incredible. She ran the medal race yesterday and she earned silver. A teammate earned bronze, and then this is something to celebrate. I have it written down. Julian Allred of St. Lucia won the gold, and this was, if I'm again remembering correctly, it was the very first very first medal, let alone gold, for St. Lucia from the Olympics. I've been thinking as I've been watching, especially the track meets where you see all of them together at the same time versus competing one after the other. These people have to compete against others. And those other people are hearing the same story of, for example, Miss Richardson is the fastest in the world. She's been setting world records, breaking and setting new ones. She's expected to win the gold constantly. This is the story. I mean, first of all, that's a lot of pressure on her that she's expected to win it, such that silver might not feel like enough. And I mean, silver is an incredible achievement. But look at the people who didn't medal. I mean, they have been listening to that kind of story. And they still show up and they still say, I'm going to try. I mean, the grit and tenacity you have to walk up to a race, knowing that you're not expected to medal, that everyone has written you off already, and to still step up and start that race and to do it, that's incredible. And these people could run circles around all of us. Let's just be completely honest about that. These people, any one of them, they're world class. They're the literal best of the absolute best. And I think they all should be celebrated for that. I mean, getting to the Olympics alone is an insane accomplishment for these people. So within the racing, there was another story, and this one is a much more shorter timeline of mistake to redemption, so to speak. Femke Bol was in one of the races. I think it was a 4x4. I think it was a qualifier to place into the final race. And it's 2 men, 2 women on each team, and they each take a lap relay race. And she was leading the entire way on the last lap, and I don't know, 10 something feet from the finish line, she tripped. It wasn't like she tripped over someone else's feet, they tripped her from behind. It wasn't. It was an unforced sort of error, so to speak. And the US was close enough behind her that they got gold. She got up immediately and got over the line, and I want to say she got silver. If she didn't get silver, she got bronze for the team. She placed still. And that must have been in a qualifying race on Friday. In the final yesterday, so just one day later, when we make mistakes, it can often be on our mind and stay there. And, I hope I don't do this again. She was about fourth, probably 30, 40 feet, maybe more, behind the leader of the race in the last lap. And coming into the last quarter of the lap towards the finish line, she just put on the speed and she overtook all of them, and she came first and helped her team win the gold. It was a very quick turnaround from, oh, I tripped, to then the next day winning. But it's still an example of a mistake doesn't define you. A mistake is just a mistake. And I don't think mistake is essentially the right word for what happened. She tripped. It happens, right? We all fall sometimes. But she got back up in the same race and got over the finish line. And then the next day she came back and she said, don't think about it. Just run your race. Just run your race the way you normally do. And she trusted her body and her training and all of the preparation. The preparation is what helps you win. It's not about showing up on the day if you haven't done the preparation. Like, you have to have the preparation and trust your body and move forwards with it. I'm probably going to watch some more. The Olympics are on for another week or so. And there have been other examples of countries getting their very first Olympic medal in any of the sports. It's something to definitely celebrate and sort of be happy for others. I love, like I mentioned earlier, I love the camaraderie. I love the uplifting nature of these events and the lessons we can learn and take into our normal everyday lives. They're just as valuable. So I hope you have been able to enjoy some of the Olympics. And heck, if sports are not your thing, maybe even just understanding and realizing the lesson and feeling more support is certainly something that could go a long way for all of us, right? So if you made it this far, thank you so much for being here. As always, drop a like, subscribe, comment, maybe share the video, and I will see you on the next one. Be kind to yourself.